Here are two ways that Washington is trying to help out your COLA, give you an increased Social Security check on a regular basis. Take a look at this. Social Security, two ways Washington wants to change cost of living adjustments and actually give you the highest Social Security check possible. Also, check out this. The 10 states that have the highest average Social Security benefits. Are you curious if your state is on that list? I'll go over that list as well and give you some other important updates. Before I dive into the main content, if you appreciate these Social Security updates, hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel for more Social Security updates. And this video is sponsored by my company, WiseSense. If you or anyone you know is looking to increase your credit score, got my details down in the description below. Social Security, two ways Washington wants to change cost of living adjustment, also known as the COLA. So Washington lawmakers have proposed changing the way cost of living adjustments are calculated. Many retired Americans have struggled with rising prices in recent years. A survey by the Employee Benefit Research Institute found that 58% of retired workers worry they will have to make substantial spending cuts due to inflation. Naturally, rising prices have drawn attention to Social Security benefits, often the largest source of income in retirement. Specifically, while Social Security payments can get an annual cost of living adjustment to offset inflation, those adjustments are calculated using the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, also known as the CPIW. So some experts see that as a problem. The CPIW measures price changes from the perspective of workers, but active workers tend to spend money differently than retired workers and other Social Security recipients. So as a result, experts argue that the CPIW COLAs underestimate rising prices for seniors, such as the Social Security benefits are not increasing fast enough to keep pace with inflation. Some Washington lawmakers have proposed solutions to address that problem. So basically, two solutions to this problem here. The first, calculate Social Security COLAs using CPIE. So you've probably heard me talk about this a few different times with a few different Social Security bills, one of them being the Social Security 2100 Act, which wants to transfer the COLA adjustment from CPIW to CPIE, Consumer Price Index for the elderly. So basically, if you're wondering what the price difference would be, so it's actually in two different bills here, Social Security Expansion Act and Protecting and Preserving Social Security Act. So many Social Security bills that just are collecting dust. But anyways, if we take a look at this chart right here, it shows the difference between the CPIW, which is in this middle column, compared to the CPIE COLA. So if you're wondering, 2015, the CPIW was 1.7% and the CPIE was 2%. In 2016 is 0% for the CPIW, 0.6% for the CPIE. So you can see the difference here. There are some really big differences here. For example, 0.3% compared to 1.5%. So minor differences between them, but that makes a lot of difference. That's, could be hundreds of dollars for the month or the year, depending on how much you're getting. Now, there is one issue with it. If you can see this, I know it may be a little small to see. For example, 2023, the CPIW was 8.7%, but the CPIE was 8%, right? So if it was at the CPIE, it would actually be lower. This is probably due to all the craziness that was going on with inflation and the pandemic and all that, and recovering from, all the things going on. But as you see in 2024, it would have been 3.2% for 2020. Well, it is 3.2% for 2024, but it would have been 4% this year, higher. And overall, 30.8% for the CPIW and 32.7% for the CPIE. Although some years it kind of swaps where the CPIE is a little lower. So the next solution to that is calculate COLAs using the CPIE and the CPIW. So going through each one and seeing which one is higher. So with this chart, it's basically comparing the CPIW to the CPIE, and whichever one is bigger, you give Social Security recipients the higher COLA, which makes complete sense. Why not just give seniors and other Social Security recipients the highest amount that they are allowed to get? So you can see that in a scenario where it's CPIE versus CPIW, that the average retired worker would have received an additional $3,788 in Social Security benefits over the last 10 years. That meaning that over the past 10 years, if you've been on Social Security or close to it, then you would have gotten an additional $3,788 more if we had the CPIE in place for the COLA adjustment compared to the CPIW. So you can see the big difference there of how little numbers make a difference. I'm not sure why it hasn't been done yet when it comes to changing it over. And if it does get changed over, I think this is a great idea. Just make it the higher COLA, because we could have another crazy year of a recession or some economic downturn where the CPIW may be higher than the CPIE. Just choose the higher COLA. Makes perfect sense. And I think the 60 to 70 million people on Social Security would agree. Just give them the higher COLA. Anyways, moving on. What are your thoughts on that? So moving on, these 10 states have the highest Social Security benefits. So when it comes to the state that you live in, you could have a higher check. So I'm going to go through these numbers here. So Connecticut looks like is number one, $2,266. So I'm going to go through these top 10 here. Really curious how if your Social Security check, if you're living in one of these states, how it compares to these numbers here. Now this is just the average monthly benefit. So yours will be different. Could be higher, could be lower, but this is the average. I'm curious how yours compares. So that's Connecticut. Then New Jersey, $2,266.16. So only a 30-cent difference there. Delaware, $2,241. New Hampshire, $2,237. Maryland, $2,199. Washington, $2,168. Minnesota, $2,158. Michigan, $2,151. Massachusetts, $2,142. And Utah, $2,132. So those are the top 10 states with the highest averages. You can see the difference between the lowest, Utah, at $2,132 compared to Connecticut, $2,266. It's about $134 difference. So, which makes a difference, per month. But anyways, that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, I want to tell you the one thing that you can do to yourself. Be kind, be smart, and also you have to be kind to your mommy, your daddy, or your brother or sister, or anything that you want. And also you have to be kind to yourself.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see the latest bill in Congress for Social Security that's gaining traction and hear the representative talk about it, click this video right up here, as this bill could save a lot of money for Social Security recipients, as money saved is money earned. So click that video now and I'll see you in that video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.